Here you are, nice to see you.
Yeah, good, thanks.
I suppose someone like this could have been you in this tournament. So,
oh, I didn't see that.
how relieved are you that here we are talking about you playing in a World Cup semi-final and not you missing the rest of the tournament?
Yeah, very relieved. I think obviously I spoke about it a few days ago, so try not to dwell on it too much. But yeah, I think obviously your first thought is that, and yeah, as soon as we got the results, very relieved. But yeah, got a massive game on Wednesday, so kind of just trying to put that in the past and focus on the game ahead.
Talk to me about this massive game on Wednesday then. How are you feeling coming in as, well, you're going to be the spoiler, I suppose, in a country that's made you feel so welcome?
Yeah, I think it's exciting. As you said, the Australian people have made us feel really welcome. They've looked after us, and Australia are a great team. So I think, yeah, these are the games you want to be playing in. And I've played in a semi-final before, so yeah, again, I'm just really looking forward to this one. And yeah, just trying to make the fans back home really proud of us, I think.
Played in semi-final before. Does this one feel different though?
No, I think obviously any semi-final at a World Cup is always motivating. You're always looking forward to it. I think maybe last time, personally, I was a little bit more nervous. It was my first big tournament, and yeah, I kind of didn't really know what to expect. But this one, I think, yeah, just really excited. And as I said, Australia are a great team. It's going to be a tough game, but we know what we're capable of, and we're all looking forward to it.
How good is England going to have to be on Wednesday to beat Australia in this atmosphere?
Yeah, I think we're going to have to bring our best game, as I've just said. I think Australia have got some great players. They're playing really well. They're aggressive. They play a really direct style of football. So, yeah, I think for us, we're going to have to be on our A game. But, yeah, I just think we've had a good few training sessions now. And, yeah, we're just looking forward to it. I think any semi-final, it's not difficult to get yourself up for it. I think, obviously, you know, as I said, we want to make the nation proud back at home. And, yeah, there's an opportunity there to make a World Cup final. So, yeah, we're going to give it everything. Thank you.
Thanks, Anton. Take questions from the floor, if you can raise your hand. Yep, we'll go to Luke next to Anton. Thank you.
Hi, Keira. You're a cricket fan, aren't you, I believe?
I played a little bit when I was younger. I won't say I'm a cricket fan.
You'll be aware of the intense rivalry there is between England and Australia, though. Does that merely add to the occasion?
Honestly, I think for us players, no. I think there's a lot of rivalries in football. I wouldn't say this is the major one. I think they're a great team, and it's a semi-final. I think whoever you're playing, it's going to be a rivalry. It's going to be an intense game. So for us, I think that's probably one of the last things that we're thinking about.
Can you understand why the rest of the nation back home might see it as a bit more than just the semi-final there?
Yeah, I think with what you said with the cricket and the netball, I understand why everyone else feels like that. But for us, it's a semi-final. It's a massive game regardless of who you're playing. What
did you make of the Bairstow stumping?
Honestly, I didn't see it.
Thanks, Luke. We'll go to Simon.
I actually don't know what he's talking about.
All good.
Keira, is it easy when obviously everyone is talking about the rivalry for you guys as a team to block it out, and how do you go about blocking out the noise from the outside?
Yeah, honestly, I didn't really know people were talking about it until David just told me on the way down. I think for us we're all just really focused. I think a lot of us, you know, we're not really on social media. We're not listening to what's going on outside. I think that's what's got us so far in this tournament, is just focusing on what we've got and what we're capable of. And yeah, I think for us, as I said, semi-final, massive game. We don't need to be told about a rivalry and how to get up for the game. I think it's where we want to be.
We saw the other night that Leah was there and you guys saw her afterwards. Is she planning to be in camp at all this week? What was it like to see her? And is that a boost when you're sort of in the business end of the tournament?
Yeah, it's a massive boost, I think, for the team, and to see her supporting us. You know, it's the opposite side of the world. It's not an easy flight. I think it kind of shows, you know, what she feels about this team. And the first time I saw her was actually, she was standing outside my hotel room waving, because, I mean, she didn't want to distract us on game day, so she kind of just stood outside and, waved from there. But, I think for us it was nice, and then obviously to get the win and celebrate with her afterwards. I mean, I imagine it's not easy for her to watch those games because she would want to be playing in them. So I think for us, you know, we really appreciate her support, and I think it shows what a good character and what a good person she is, that she's able to do that for us.
Was there anything she specifically said or any stuff she passed on for this week?
I think it was just about being confident and just, going and shining and doing what we're capable of. I think, you know, she's been in and around it. She knows what this team can do. So it was kind of just that message, and just to believe and, try and go as far as we can, really.
Thanks, Simon. Go to the back of the room, and Dan from the BBC.
Thank you. Hi, Keira. Australia are the only team that have managed to beat England since Serena came in. I think 37 matches now. That's the only one she's experienced defeat. And I think you played in that game earlier this year. Does that give your opponents a little bit of a mental edge going into Wednesday?
I think if I put myself in their shoes, not so much. I think a semi-final of a World Cup, I think it's a difficult game. I think, obviously, they can take some confidence from that game, but we weren't at our best, and I'm sure that they're aware of that. And obviously, we've changed a lot since then in shape and players. And I think the momentum that you've got in a World Cup is different. So I imagine that they won't be too focused on that. They know it's going to be a tough game as well. So it's going to be hopefully a good game for the fans to watch.
Clearly, the country is really behind them. The Matildas have gripped Australia, and they came through that extraordinary penalty shootout. They may feel that the fate's on their side after that. But do you think there's also a bit of pressure on them because they're the hosts? And can you exploit that, perhaps?
Yeah, I think first off, I think it's amazing to see for women's football in Australia, the amount of support they have got. I think that's probably a bigger picture to speak about than the tournament itself. I think, you can see, they were stopping the AFL games in the news, and I think just in general for women's football, I think that's incredible. But I think there's pressure on both teams. I think, we obviously felt that in the summer having a home Euros, and I think you can see it as pressure. You can also see it as, they've got the support in the stands, but I think there's pressure on both teams. It's a massive game, so I'm sure they won't be focusing on that too much.
Everybody will remember forever, I guess, the Euros final and what you achieved last year. But would reaching a World Cup final here, albeit not on home soil, surpass that? Do you think? And what would it be like if you can achieve this on Wednesday evening and get there? Something which England have never achieved before, get to a final.
Yeah, I think it obviously will be a massive result. I think it's hard to compare the two. I think winning a trophy like that on home soil, it's always got a different feel to it. But then again, we're at a World Cup, so I think it's every footballer's dream is to play in a World Cup final. So I think for us, that's obviously the aim, and hopefully we can get the job done on Wednesday.
Thanks, Dan. We'll just go next to you. Thank you.
Keira, you know what it's like to have played in front of a home crowd in a massive tournament and the difference that can make. There's going to be 75,000 people in there in Stadium Australia on Wednesday night. Can you just explain to us what that's like, having that sheer amount of noise in support behind you, and also the difficulties of playing in an environment like that as well?
Yeah, I think it was massive for us at the Euros, especially in the final. I think, when there's those moments where the opposition could potentially score, and it kind of shifts momentum. I think sometimes when you're playing, when the crowd's behind you, it gives you that extra push. But I think also when you're playing against it, I think when you can quieten the crowd, I think it's also a very nice feeling. And I think to maybe try and take the momentum out of the game for them is going to be important. So, there's positives and negatives to both, and I've experienced both. So, again, I think we experienced it against Colombia on at the weekend. They were really loud. They had some amazing fans. So, I think we've experienced that this tournament now, and we're just looking forward to the game on Wednesday.
Thank you. We'll go to Patrick from German TV.
Pretty simple question. How would you describe your coach Serena during this tournament, and what the key of her success, the secret?
I think she's pretty relaxed. She's always very logical in the way she does things. She has a clear plan and a clear vision of how she wants everything to go. And I think even when you're playing and you can kind of feel the pressure, she never looks like she feels it. And I think that really can calm you when you're on the pitch. And in and around it, she's always just happy to be in around the girls, and a family are here. And I think she creates a really family feel, which is nice. And I think, as you can see, all the girls really enjoy playing for her, and she probably gives us that extra push on the pitch that you need sometimes when you're playing in tough games that we've experienced this World Cup.
Thanks, Patrick. Just if you can hand the mic forward to Emma from the BBC, that'd be great. Thank you.
Hi, Keira. Thanks for your time. Best of luck.
Thanks.
It feels like all the noise is on Australia. Obviously, England, there's always expectation, there's always pressure, but this might be perhaps the first time in the tournament where, England aren't necessarily going into it as heavy favourites. Do you think that you can use that to your advantage in a way?
Yeah, I think, obviously, as you said, if the pressure's on them, then I think that's a different thing to cope with. But, I think they're a great team. It's going to be a tough game, whether they're feeling pressure or not. As I said, I think the way they play, they don't always look like they're feeling the pressure. They're very physical, front-footed, and, we've got to be ready for that. I imagine it's just not something we're going to be thinking about either, is who's on the pressure. It's a semi-final, so I think for us it's just about going in confident, playing our game, and trying to be on the front foot and get ready for what their strengths are as well.
Thank you.
Thanks, Emma. We'll just go next to you to Susie. Thanks.
Hey, Keira. I was just wondering how you found playing in front of a back three, because it's not something you've done that often. Have you been asked to adapt the way you play at all? Have you had to think a little bit differently about how you do it?
Yeah, a little bit. I think obviously because me and Millie are sometimes in a similar area of the pitch. I think it's kind of just getting those angles a little bit different. But yeah, I think I experienced it a little bit at City. You know, they play with the inverted fullback, and sometimes there is a back three. So it's something that I've experienced before. But I think yeah, 3-5-2 is probably a little bit different. And the girls did so well against China playing it. So yeah, I understand why Serena stuck with it. And I think my first training session, like I said, it was just trying to find the angles and the forward passes a little bit. But the back three have been really helpful with that and talking me through it, and yeah, really helping me try and pick those areas up. So yeah, I think it's been okay so far, I would say.
Do you like the challenge of it being a little bit different?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. I think it keeps you on your toes. I think, yeah, for us, as I said, it was a positive thing in that China game. We played really well. So, yeah, I think the girls are enjoying it. I think it gives different teams different challenges as well. I think they're obviously always expecting us to play the same way. So, yeah, I think it's exciting. And I think playing with two forwards, it's always nice. You get more bodies in the box, more opportunities. So, yeah, as I said, we're just looking forward to the game, really.
Thanks.
Thanks, Susie. We'll just go in front to Miguel. Thank you.
Hi, just on that about the pressure. I mean, I suppose so far through the tournament, it's almost been like England have been the favourites in every game, and the capacity has been for England, or really the tension with each game has been what happens if you get knocked out or beaten. Whereas now it feels like it flips a little bit, where even if the teams are level, you could spoil the party. Does that kind of change anything about the dynamic or the mentality coming into it?
Personally, for me, no. I think whatever game I play and I want to win, I think it doesn't matter who you're playing against. Yeah, so for us, I wouldn't say we're thinking about spoiling the party. I think it's just another game, and a massive game at that. So, yeah, for us, it's just fully focused on trying to reach a World Cup final regardless of who we're playing. But, yeah, I think obviously with the support from Australia, I think it is going to be a little bit different for them in that sense, I would say.
Thanks, Miguel. We'll go across to Sandra.
Hi, Keira. I hope you're well. I mean, if England, fingers crossed, get to the final, that's 3 massive finals for you and for Lucy in terms of club and country. Just how does that feel for you, particularly given, you know, the injury that you had and obviously coming back from that? What would that mean to you?
Yeah, I think obviously, you know, full respect to Australia, we have to get the job done on Wednesday first. But yeah, I think it'd be really surreal. I wouldn't really know how to put it into words. I think it's something that obviously you dream of as a footballer, but to do that in, yeah, like a year, effectively a season, it would be, yeah, pretty incredible. But as I said, you know, we've got to focus on that game first and get the job done there before we can think about anything else, really.
Thanks, Sandra. We'll just go in front to Rob from Sky News. Thanks.
Hi there. Good luck for Wednesday.
Thank you.
You've been here so many weeks now. You've had the sightseeing and all the excursions and stuff. How's it been? And is there a sense of a shift in gear in the camp now that there's a semi-final to sort of focus on?
Yeah, as I said, I think Australia's made us feel really welcome. We've all really enjoyed our time here. But yeah, I think as soon as it comes to kind of the knockout stages, it's the focus obviously shifts. It's like you could be going home the next day effectively. So yeah, for us, we know how big of a game it is on Wednesday, and obviously, you know, we've experienced that semi-final before. So I think a lot of us would like to go one step further and reach the final.
And do you get much time to try new things out on the training pitch? Obviously, you've been here so many weeks. Is there time to try new things to stay fresh?
I think at the start of the tournament it's a lot easier because obviously there's a lot more days in between the games. I think the further you go, obviously the rest period and the time in between gets shorter. So I think, yeah, these last few games it's probably a little bit more difficult to try and make any drastic changes. I think obviously there's the last tweaks that you kind of do depending on who you're playing, but yeah, I think that the bigger changes probably come at the start of the tournament when you have more time to try things. But yeah, now it's kind of just focusing on what you're doing, what you have been doing, what's working well, and just going with that, really.
Thanks, Rob. We'll go to Holly from the Mirror, just next to you. Thanks.
Hi, Keira. I know you've been asked a lot about the rivalry already, but on the front of a lot of the Aussie newspapers today, they're talking about coming for the Poms. And I just wondered what you thought about, you know, that fighting talk. You know, they've conquered France. They're saying they're going to conquer England. You know, you guys, you must, you know, you're here to win it, as you've said. So, you know, what do you make of that? And do the Lionesses believe that they can win it too?
Yeah, I think obviously I don't think their team would be coming out saying that. I think it's different when you're in and around it. I think obviously that the media do talk a lot, but for us, I think it's not about Australia or any team. We want to win regardless, as I've said earlier. But yeah, I don't know. I think, yeah, there's a rivalry in any team. So for me, it doesn't really make much of a difference if the media's talking about trying to beat England. I think most teams probably say that about the England team and the Lionesses now. I think off the back of the Euros win, I think most teams probably thought that anyway. So yeah, for us, it's probably not too much of a change. And yeah, obviously we want to beat them as well. So yeah, hopefully it'll be an interesting game.
And can I just ask you as well, I know that you said when we spoke to you a couple of weeks ago that your family were hoping to fly out.
Yeah.
Are they here now, and are you hoping to celebrate with them if you do manage to beat the Aussies on Wednesday?
Yeah, so they came the day before the Nigeria game, so obviously I was a bit nervous in that one, whether they'd have to go the next day at one point when it went to penalties. I don't think that's the nicest for anyone. It was, I'm really glad that they actually got to experience some of Australia, and hopefully we can celebrate after the game. But yeah, I think for them it's just obviously a really nice experience to be here at the World Cup. You know, they saw me when I was younger and that was always my dream. So I just think for any parent, regardless of how far they go, I think they're just really proud to be here and supporting the Lionesses.
Thanks, Holly. We'll take last 3 questions. We'll go to Owen first.
Hi, Keira. You said at the start that for your first semi-final you didn't really know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
Now you and most of your teammates are pretty used to this now, so it's familiar territory. Does that make you harder to beat, more battle savvy, and conversely the Australian team aren't in that position? So do you think that is a factor?
I think for us it can be. I think obviously you can draw on those experiences, and I think from those games you can think about, maybe what you should have done a little bit better, whether it was slowing the game down, speeding the game up. I think all of those things, they do come into play, but they've got players who've played in massive games in the club, and they've got the likes of Ellie Carpenter, Sam Kerr, who've played in many Champions League games. So I think, for them, they'll be drawing on those experiences, and it's the same. And they're playing in a home World Cup. We played in a home Euros. Most of us never played in a final for our country before, and we wasn't thinking about that too much, so I'm sure they won't be. But I think for us, we can draw on those experiences from the past and hopefully do one better on Wednesday.
Thanks, Owen. We'll go to Tom Gary.
Thank you. Hi, Keira. Over the last few days, a few images on social media have gone quite viral of your teammates sort of consoling upset Colombia players, and it was quite similar after the Nigeria game with, I think it was Alex and Chloe, with the goalkeeper who was upset. Is sort of being gracious winners something that you've talked about? Has that been important? And if so, where's that come from? Has that come from Serena, and is that player led?
I wouldn't say it's something we've spoke about. I think obviously, you've all spoke to Serena, and I think she naturally is just like that anyway. I think she always puts an emphasis on being humble and respecting your opponents, but it's not something we've spoke about. I think we all know the feeling of being knocked out of a World Cup, and it's one of the worst feelings in the world. And I think, when you can see fellow players who are really upset, I think the natural human thing to do is to just go over and see if they're okay. I think I'd like to think most people would do the same in that situation. I think we can obviously be happy we've gone through, but at the same time we could have also gone home, and we know what that feels like. So I think for us it's just about making sure that the other girls are okay, and then once we're back in the change room we can celebrate then. I think for us it's not a conscious thing to do it in front of people's faces. It's more we come together as a team, and we can celebrate when we're back in the change room, I think.
And I suppose to sort of counter that niceness, are you ready to sort of be almost like the public enemy number one on Wednesday? Because everyone in Australia is wanting you to lose, right? Is that a slightly different approach? Are you ready for sort of the feistiness maybe of Wednesday?
Yeah, I think you've seen that the girls are ready to fight. I think, the Nigeria game, the Colombia game, they weren't easy. We wasn't always on top, and I think people have seen that side to us now. I think, obviously, once the whistle ends, it's a different story, but I think in the game, I think the girls are very aware of what the game's going to be like, what the stadium's going to be like, and I think for us, we're more than ready for it.
Thank you. Thanks, Tom. Final question from Catherine. You're done, Tom?
Thank you. Just on that back three, why do you think they complement each other so well? And we saw how they controlled the game against Colombia as well. Is it like different skill sets, or is it just an understanding they've built?
I think they all understand the game very well regardless. I think you can see that in the way they build up. I think the three of them are excellent on the ball. They've all got passing ranges. They can play short, long, and defensively they're all great as well. So I think for us it gives us a really great base to play off. It gives us a strong structure to start from, and I think that's probably where the goals came from against Colombia. I think it was them building up from the back and really understanding the spaces to play. And for me, I've really enjoyed playing with them. So hopefully that continues against Australia.